You start the year January 1, boom, it's at zero. It's no guarantees.
That voice right there, good friend of mine, a game changer, Heather B. Founder of Grand Hustle Records, owner of Strivers Row Lifestyle brand, co-founder of Aku, co-founder of the Hustle Gang brand, producer of the film Takers, multimedia artist. He's their advisor. Man, All Deaf Digital. It goes on and on. This man is a proven mogul when it comes to the business. He's the founder and CEO of Heavy Sound Labs. He's the man behind the scenes, played a significant role in T.I.'s growth. I heard T.I. talking about it live yesterday. I want to welcome him to the show, the one and only Jason Jeter. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Jeter.
What's good? What's good? Good morning, y'all. Man, thank you.
Good morning.
That intro is always like a $1 billion intro, man. That's beautiful. Good morning to all of y'all.
Yo,
good morning to you, King.
Well,
thank you, Queen.
You got $1 billion worth of information. We need it, man. Jay, we need it. Because the thing about Jason Jeter is, Jay, you real mild-mannered with yours. You like the silent assassin. Like, you've been behind so many people's careers. Travis Scott, I met Travis Scott through you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you've been behind so many people's careers. And one of the things I admire most is how you've always established this entrepreneurial spirit. And you always taken chances and created your own platforms, which is a messaging that I'm trying to develop for us, even as a people, like in terms of asking for anything, handouts. I know you got to work in unison with folks in order to grow, but at what point do we become autonomous? And the unison that we're working on is all within us as well. I'm tired of asking, Jason Jeter. And so I want to bring you on to talk about your rise as a business mogul, and then how you think those skills can actually transfer and work for us in the community across the board. And so my first question to you is, in this time of entrepreneurship that you talked about in this clip, I remember, Tracy, you asking a question, I'm paraphrasing, to someone about how do you know if you're really built to be an entrepreneur?
Right.
And so, Jason, it's a lot of us jumping into this. For you, what did you find to be the basic fundamentals of building a business that you have to do? What are those building blocks?
Man, I mean, let's start with the first thing is, if you're going to have a business, you have to create paperwork, right? Like, you have to make that official, if you're going to be a real business, So you got to take care of your paperwork no matter what business industry you're in. And then, for me, from there, like, it's just a roller coaster ride, for real, man. Like, so I think that, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you really have to be prepared for the roller coaster ride. You have to be prepared, like, for the lonely moments, of, being alone, working on whatever it is that you're trying to build. And I mean, it's really a lot to it, man. But at the end of the day, you have to really, I say, really do a lot of research. It's great to have a passion for whatever it is that you're trying to build. I've always moved from a place of passion. All of the companies that I've done and that I've been a part of, like, I've, first and foremost had a passion for it. Therefore, I felt like I had an understanding for it. And, and I feel like when you really love what you do, as they say, it's never really worked, because now you can really run that marathon, because we know as an entrepreneur, that means that you're always going to be under-resourced, as an independent person, You're going to always be under-resourced no matter what. So you're going to have to wear a lot of hats, do a lot of jobs, work a lot of hours.
Wear a lot of hats, do a lot of jobs, work a lot of hours. This is Jason Jeter, founder, CEO of Heavy Sound Labs. Break down what the other thing I noticed is a lot of the businesses you've gone into, All Deaf Digital, Heavy Sound Labs. These aren't your conventional ways of making revenue streams necessarily. This is all based on modern times. We've been listening to a lot of artists come out and complain about the relationships they have with major record labels. Most recently, Kanye made a lot of noise about the record contracts that he signed over the 10 or however many albums that he put out. what are your thoughts on the relationship between record companies and artists? And I'm an artist advocate. And how can artists really establish their independence without a record company, or is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, right? Like today, it's a lot easier than it was when Cash Money was doing it, or No Limit was doing it, or Rap A Lot was doing it, in the physical sense, right? So today it's a lot easier, but of course the market's far more flooded, so that still presents a lot more challenges within itself. But I think that no matter what, we know that to really build a career in a business, you got to build traction. You have to build traction, and you have to consistently put out product, and you have to be consistent with your marketing and your branding so that you can build a brand, that really means something. People have to kind of get emotionally invested into you, or, your brand, your business to really kind of continuously support you. You have to be consistent with your output. I think that's one of the things that a lot of artists really, truly don't really realize is like, hey, you have to program the same way you guys have your show, every morning at X amount of time. The same way I knew to watch the Cosby Show on Thursday night at 8:00. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta program out, so people can expect to see you, and anticipate that. You got to deliver each time, no matter if that's every week, if that's every 2 weeks, whatever that is. I think that's something that a lot of artists, they typically kind of don't really want to put a lot of strategy to it and a lot of deadlines on it, But I think that, it takes those type of efforts really to truly build an independent business. And I think that today it's a great time because major labels are still here and they're a resource. You really just got to know how to work with them, for real. You don't want to work for them. We can work with each other, because they have representation all over the world. They have offices in Lagos and Tokyo and everywhere. And we know that hip-hop in particular is the number one genre of music in the world now. So we need presence everywhere.
Jason Jeter is here. Then I'm gonna let everybody else jump in. I was reading this Forbes article that features you in it and the company that you and your investment group acquired, All Def Digital. And All Def Digital was the biggest black-owned digital site. It went through its, hardships when the founder Russell Simmons was accused of allegations, sexual misconduct allegations, and then it was acquired by an ownership group that consists of, but not limited to, T.I., Killer Mike, Baron Davis, and Jason Jeter. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like you guys are proof of concept. If we and our friends and our like-minded friends and colleagues come together, we can acquire properties, we could acquire ownership, and we could build our portfolios in this way. How did y'all set up your investment group, and can people do it on a smaller scale? You dudes are all multimillionaires, it's different. But, dudes can it be done on a smaller scale, you think?
Absolutely. Like, all we're talking about is group economics, So, yeah, it can absolutely be done on a smaller scale. I tell people all the time, I think that one of the great things about social media is that you can really identify someone else that's passionate about the same thing that you're passionate about. I think that at a young age, a lot of times we really look towards our immediate circle, our friends, and want to do things with people, that we're comfortable with already, But I think that most of the time it's very rare that you find that you and your friend both share the same amount of passion, for whatever this is that you're trying to build, So I think that today on all levels, you can connect with people. You can find someone that you have a lot in common with when it comes to a common goal, not necessarily personally, but we really have a common goal. And, of course, personally, we have to, like each other to really spend a lot of time with each other and build this dream of ours, So I think it's on a smaller level the same way it's on the bigger level. The numbers are just different, And All Def Digital came about through Cedric Rogers, the new CEO, my guy Sean Newsom, who's the CTO of All Def today. You know, these guys, they had a company called Culture Gin, and myself, Tip, Paul Judge, a few people, we invested in these guys alongside of Muffin Capital and BetaWorks. You know, so I want to point this part out as well, is this is truly what made it attractive to me. You know, I think a lot of times in our community, people are looking for angel investors and investors, but it's tough to kind of what they call lead the round of investment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough for, you know, somebody to come to you and want to invest, and it's like, yo, I really got all the bread in this for real right now. You know, so that's really, I think, the first thing is once I started just researching and learning and understanding, like, okay, this is what venture capitalism is about. This is how you invest. These are things that made it attractive to me, is that these guys already had BetaWorks, which is out of New York, and Muffin Capital, which is out of Santa Monica, two respectable VC shops that had already invested in these guys. So now, if we put our money together, we're investing alongside of these other, VC groups, which now we're all invested. So therefore, we're all working towards making this investment win. You know, I think that that's really like one of the things that we really that makes investments really worthy. You know, when you have other great investors first and foremost. But it was a great opportunity to grab. We grabbed it, and now we're we relaunched it right in the beginning of the year. The pandemic hit, obviously. We've been swimming, and now it's very interesting times because, you know, content is everything, you know, and the platform is the largest African-American owned publisher on YouTube and Facebook. So when we acquired it, you know, a ton of catalog, you know, a ton of great catalog for us we could build upon.
Okay. Heavy Sound Lab. I want artists, people, creatives, not just singing artists, whatever type of creativity you're in, visit www.heavysound.com, which is a music incubator that includes a community of music fans and creatives from all over. And you were telling me about this months ago, and I've been just watching it grow. And Heavy Sound Labs, you kind of aim to develop artists, it says, and create traction, and then maybe upshoot to a major label within a matter of years. Heavy Sound Lab has a lot of similarity to United Masters, in my opinion. Or can you point out the differences between what a Heavy Sound Lab might do and United Masters may do?
I'll say this, right? We're totally different.
Okay.
Heavy Sound Labs is a modern-day record label. United Masters is a modern-day distribution company, you know? So now United Masters is going to be in business with hundreds of thousands of artists. So they're dealing with the quantitative, you know, whereas I'm dealing with the qualitative. So now I'm dealing with, I consider Heavy Sound Labs to be a luxury offering for artists, you know, dead serious, because any artist can go to the website, heavysound.com. You could fill out the application, and we will review you. You know, we've seen over 1,000 artists already that have come and applied. We've only partnered with 6 so far, you know. So we're not accepting everyone. We're accepting artists that we feel like that we can help and that we can, you know, help develop within 24 months so that now we can start monetizing for real. You know, we don't want to incubate forever. We're not a distribution company, so we don't make our money in that way. So, I mean, something else that Heavy Sound Labs has created, which I'm super proud about, because I can say that no one has this that I know of at all, and I've done a lot of research on it. But we created the Heavy Crew. So now any artist goes to the website, you hit the application. I told you we've seen over 1,000 applicants, so now we're turning down all of these people. So I immediately said, like, wow, this is crazy. I just can't keep turning people away. Like, what should I do? And I thought, you know, I'm creating a modern-day record label. So I was an intern before at a record label in the olden days. You know what I'm saying? So I was an intern in the physical. You know, I was on the street team before, in the physical, you know. So I said, wow, a lot of these artists that I'm turning away, a lot of these guys are just too early. You know, technology, you can record 1-2 songs and feel like you're ready to get a record deal. In today's world, that's how it is for these kids, you know. So I say, all right, let me convert them to what I call a heavy crew. So now this is, in my mind, the inspiration is, you know, what does today's internship program look like digitally? What does today's street team program look like digitally? Now this is a community, you know. So now I start saying to an artist, hey, you're a little too early. Maybe you should join my heavy crew, you know. So now we have over 1,500 artists. I mean, not artists, but just creatives in this crew. You know, now these are managers. These are people who want a future, you know, career in the music industry. They want to be A&Rs, marketers, journalists in there. You know, we have directors, just an assortment. Some people were just music lovers, you know. So the top 2 things these guys want to do is, number 1, network with other like-minded creatives, and then number 2, learn from proven industry experts, you know. So now we've been, throughout the pandemic, we've been doing, you know, what we call heavy talks. We talk with a lot of great just industry experts, you know, proven people, you know. We've done the lives on Zoom, and now we're doing them straight to YouTube. We create challenges with the heavy crew. We have a Slack that a few hundred of us are in the Slack, and we're talking, communicating all day long, surveys, different conversations, different topics and stuff, you know. So we have a lot of offerings, man, and it's been really good. You know, you can see people that have been learning and have been growing. We get testimonies from these people, you know. So it's pretty cool, and I'm really super excited about that because we can really now wrap our arms around and promote new artists. We know that the biggest challenge for a new artist is to get someone else to say their name. You know, your friends won't even promote you until somebody else co-signs you for real. You know, so now for us, we create challenges within the crew. Now, I said we have about 1,500 people in the crew today. So now you take a brand new artist, you know, all started great out of Newark, New Jersey. That's our artist. We can create a challenge around him. We could say, hey, on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, we're going to promote All Started Great, #SRT. And now we have 100, 200, 50, whatever that number is. It's a hell of a lot more than you would have got on your own. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's pretty dope, too. You know, as our community grows in numbers, you know, our activation numbers will also grow, of course.
This is Jason Jeter, and I invited him to be on the show because I love his business mind. And I wanted to hook folks up and connect them with him. This is a dude who will walk right by you, and you would not have any idea of the amount of things he's accomplished. Low key, right, HB? And those type of people, you know, like a Larry Jackson or somebody could walk right by you, and you wouldn't even know that this dude is such a pillar in the game, such a cornerstone. And Jason, you've been able to do that. I want to keep inviting you up on the show, you know, periodically, just to talk business, because this is part of an initiative I am, just keeping people in the business conversation. This is one of the contributions I want to have. HeavySound.com is the platform you should go to. HB or Tracy, y'all want to ask Jay anything before you cut out?
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. This is Tracy. Thank you so much again for jumping on the phone with us. I feel like anyone who listens to this is not leaving empty-handed. The game is heavy, my guy. So thank you. I want to get your thoughts when it comes to business and balance. Oftentimes we hear a lot of artists in their music or in interviews talk about some regrets, you know, missing like kids' birthdays, you know what I mean? Not being there for the family, choosing money, opportunity, a look over these intimate moments that don't necessarily turn into metrics, you know, but they further forge a bond for your family. And all the times we hear like, oh, when you are on your deathbed, all you're going to be thinking about is the moments that you may have lost with your friends and your family. But then when we're not on our deathbed, it's hustle, 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 hustle. And so it's very like interesting to me how we conveniently ignore certain things to honor hustle, but not like a holistic lifestyle. So what type of conversations do you have with artists about making sure that they honor their private personal life as well as their professional life?
Man, Tracy, you couldn't have asked a better question right now, right? Like So I agree with you 1,000,000%, you know, and I've been, you know, definitely a victim of that as well, right? You know, and I think most people are when you're building something, you know, when you think like, imagine like somebody like Kobe Bryant. Imagine how much stuff Kobe Bryant missed out on, you know, and obviously God bless, you know, but just like we know greatness is a cost that you got to pay for that, you know. So if you're trying to, you know, build something big, man, you can't do it alone. And you're gonna miss out. And I think that you got to also get to a point when you know, okay, like what am I building now? Now I have to kind of settle down a little bit and start thinking
and
about
delegate.
things, you know, and delegate, you know. So I think, you know, it's only natural in the beginning, but you have to have, you know, you have to be mindful of that and understand that you get to this point when now these things are super important. And I think that you know, it's interesting because even just like the pandemic, right, like. That moment for the world, like shutting down and the unknown, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think for a lot of us, I would hope at least for a lot of us, that it really kind of gave us that reset button and the time to really kind of think, you know, about what's important. And when it comes to artists, like, I'm actually doing a retreat next month. We're doing a retreat from November the 8th to the 14th. And we have artists that we signed, we partner with 6 artists. We've never even met these guys before. You know, we've done this online, you know. So I said I thought that it would be great to really come together in a safe way, you know. So there's a community about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta called Serenbe, and it's about 1,500 acres, trails, eco-friendly, you know, farm to table. It's like just a great community. Yes. Everyone should check it out, you know. But they have cabins, so we're renting out the cabins, and now we're going to set up 2 studios in there, and we're going to bring the artists down, and we're going to spend a week together. We're calling it Sound Camp, you know, and we're going to do meditation sessions, you know, obviously have informative, once again, people come in and talk to the artists about branding, things of that, you know, give them gems that they need, artist development stuff, run them through media training, and we're going to create a collaborative album. We're going to create a podcast and a documentary out of the whole thing, you know. But that's something that hits right on the head. I feel like, you know, it's very necessary to, you know, from the beginning, just kind of drop these little seeds on artists so that they can really have something to fall back to. You know, you may not use it, you may not use these practices, but you may get to a point when you're like, oh, shit, maybe I need to do this now. You know, at least I have knowledge of this already, you know. So, yeah, I think wellness is a serious thing in hip-hop, man, and I think sustainability, you know, when we talk about independence, you got to build sustainable businesses and sustainable lifestyles, you know. So I think that, you know, that whole independent conversation is a big conversation, man. You know, when you talk about what Kanye says, you know, you have to just remember, like, the people that really did it in hip hop, and remember how it looked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and remember, like, you know, like, you have to kind of make those adjustments, and we have to set our values a little different if we're really going to build independence. You have to build sustainable businesses and lifestyles.
Jason Jeter, big round of applause for Jason Jeter, founder and CEO of Heavy Sound Labs. I want all creatives to go check out heavysound.com. Jason, if they want to hit you on your handle, how can they reach you?
I'm Jason Jeter, GETR, everywhere on Instagram, Twitter. Those are the 2 places that I'm mainly. And look, and I'm now in Clubhouse too.
Okay, there you go. And to the citizens, I just want to, you know, give people access, you know, to someone who's doing it big, doing it right. It's like he says, sometimes you got to look at the ones who have done it right. A lot of times when artists say, "What should I do, man? How could I get put on?" I say, "Well, who's your favorite artist?" They may say the Baby. Okay, you like the Baby? You are you on his social? Yeah. You see how much he posts? You see what he's posting? You see how much music he putting out? You see his work ethic? You see the Baby's work ethic? You see all of these things. You see how he handles himself in interviews. You see how, you know, he might be on the edge. You know, he might be right in the center. You know, emulate what your favorite artist is doing that's successful, and then adjust to that and see how it works or does not work for you. And so I want to thank you, Jason. Yep. You've been extremely successful. We ain't even named all the businesses you've been a part of. At some point, I'm going to have T.I. on the show. We were just talking yesterday. If you can ask him a question that none of us can ask him about his growth and development, because, I was there when he got out. We did the Redemption series with MTV. I've been to this man's home, the whole nine. I just watched his growth, and I watched how he communicate with kids and how he communicate in the community. But I also watch his business sense, his sensibility. What question would you ask him based on y'all past?
Oh, man. To me, I think I'm definitely one to...
I want you to ask him.
Tip. Oh, ask him. See, I want to ask a question about the future, though.
Okay, go for it. Do it about the future.
Ask a question about the future. I feel like Tip is set up in a way to be a real media giant. Being in the podcast space, being in the space of we all hip hop is about to be 50 years old, so we're adults for real. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's set up in a way. He's set up in a way to really take it further than Ice Cube and the Queen Latifah, and and really just kind of evolve the game as I'm sure they probably will want him to. So to me, I would like to know, how does he feel about that, and what does he think the proper moves? What does he think he needs to do to really get there and make that a reality?
Great question. Jason Jeter, man. Big round of applause for Jason Jeter.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. I'm going to play this song by D1. Our brother D1 made a song about you.
D1, shout out to D1.
Yo, Jay, they making songs about you, dog.
Nah, that was dope. That was dope, man. Shout out to D1. Man.
I remember they had songs. When I was little, man, they had a song called Delgado. It was about a cat, man. I was like, man, they made a song about a cat, man. How big is that? You know what I mean? Now Jay, you got your own song. How big is you bigger than cats?
Boy, I love you, man. I love you, man.
I love you too, brother. We'll talk soon, man. All right, my man, Jason Jeter.
Later, Jason.
Kelly,
thanks, Jason.
All right, be safe, brother. Sway the morning, Shade 45, his D1.